Hello, Oracles! Oracle Tim here from Oracle Investments. Oh my goodness. Yes, so we hit 2,500 subscribers this weekend and Tesla absolutely annihilated their numbers. What a great weekend, totally wearing the Hawaiian shirt to celebrate all of this amazingness. So where did Tesla hit for their numbers and how much did they smash them by? So Q4 production numbers come in at almost 306,000 and deliveries were over 308,000. Astonishing numbers, blowing out all estimates, all whisper numbers, everything by 15%. My estimates for the quarter were 299,000 for production. So, even I was low and I thought it was being a bit bullish. So kudos to Tesla for smashing those numbers, absolutely insane. And so full year numbers come in at 930,000 vehicles produced and 936,172 vehicles delivered. My estimates for production were 927,650. So I was pretty close with my production estimates there. Hilariously, Elon's sales numbers, don't forget, were 934,000. I mean, how close were we? I don't know if maybe he was trying to give us a signal or what, but I gotta tell you, that was hilariously close. And so now with this complete annihilation of numbers coming out as we did, looking at the fact that Elon even said for Q4 they weren't going to have that quarter-ending surge. So this was without the surge of extra numbers at the end of the quarter. This is with us smoothing things out. So just think about what's going to be happening going forward if we're smoothing it out. If deliveries are smoothed out and now we have Q1 isn't going to be as small as it normally would be because we pushed so hard in Q4, now our Q1 numbers should look even better than they have in the past for Q1. And with production coming in at over 300,000 vehicles, that says that very baseline to start the year of 2022, we are at baseline numbers of 1.2 million vehicles to be produced. That doesn't include continued ramping of Shanghai or Fremont. That doesn't include Austin and Berlin coming online. So if we take those numbers into account and we take a look at Boston and Berlin, let's say bare minimum they do what Shanghai did in their first year of 150,000 vehicles each. That's another 300,000 vehicles between the two. That puts us at 1.5 million. So now let's ramp up Shanghai and Fremont even more. And even if you add just 10% increase over the two production numbers there, you're still looking at 1.6 million vehicles to be produced in 2022, which is completely insane because between those two factories, they increased by 87% over this past year. Now granted, Shanghai may not be able to ramp up as fast as they did last year, percentage-wise, but they're still going to be ramping up. They have expansions coming onto their factory, and they are already increasing that and looking to get to that 1 million run rate with it by March. So if that's the case, then we're looking at my base numbers of 1.85 million vehicles produced becoming a reality. And I'm going to keep my baseline numbers there because when I factored those numbers in and seeing as how close my predictions were, I'm going to leave my base numbers of 1.85 million vehicles produced for 2022. And now what's really crazy is Wall Street estimates are at 1.3 million vehicles delivered for 2022. Clearly that's going to happen. The demand is so high on these vehicles that they're literally going to sell out every single vehicle that they produce in 2022. Not even a question in my mind. So looking at last year, in the beginning of the year, Wall Street estimates were around 750 to 800,000 vehicles to be delivered in 2021. We have now destroyed that number. And all year long, those estimates kept on going up and up and up and ended up being 10 to 15% higher than they were when they started the year. So with that said, what is going to happen this year? Well, if we're starting at 1.3 million and we already see the writing on the wall that 1.2 million is pretty much a guarantee, what is going to happen? So I guarantee that estimates are going to be coming out in the next week or so with increases over what they previously were. And I guarantee that every single quarter throughout the entire year, those estimates are going to also continue to go up. And by the end of the year, we will have many analysts estimating 1.6 to 1.8 million vehicles delivered for 2022. And now I'm going to wait for further clarification on numbers as far as the breakdown between Shanghai and Fremont and the breakdown between the Model Y and the Model 3 and Shanghai as well before I update too many more of my numbers, because that helps with the average vehicle costs and all that, because it looks like definitely we had the ramp up of the Model S and the Model X of about 15,000 vehicles. So that's a lot of margin dollars that are going into this as well. So I want to kind of see where that's at to determine where we're going to be at with margins. Part of my thinking is Elon back in the beginning of December had said we're not going to do the push for deliveries. And part of me thinks that's because Elon knew that deliveries were going to smash numbers as it was. And he was more focused on margin. So part of me wonders if there was a larger margin cost that was coming out for supplies that were there. And so we wanted to focus on margin to make sure that we were staying at that 30%. And so if that's the case, then he would hit his second quarter in a row to be able to hit the last piece of his option package, that he would need 4 quarters in a row of hitting 30% margins. But margins are extremely important, and a lot of analysts are focusing on this. Obviously, Tesla has proven that they can destroy margins without a question, but we want to make sure that they stay high. And so with keeping the margins in focus for the end of the quarter, keeping it at 30%, knowing that this year we're ramping 2 factories and we want to keep those margins high as well. I have them taking a margin hit over the course of the year in my base case, but if they come out with really high margin numbers for the end of Q4 here, I might be updating those and bumping them up a little bit. And as much as we like to laugh at analysts for coming in so low with their numbers, it works out great in Tesla's favor, because they are great at under-promising and over-delivering. So even last year at Q4 earnings, Elon's like, well, we're going to have 50% increase in our numbers. And Wall Street's like, oh, that's so far below estimates. You guys aren't going to do well. And the stock dropped 5%. Well, then guess what happened? We all know what happened. You know, Tesla blew out the numbers that even they all thought and wanted at the beginning of the year. So by doing this for Tesla, it allows them to take all of the pressure off of their shoulders. These analysts come in with super low numbers, and Tesla can be like, all right, fine. We'll go with those lower numbers. And they even have the luxury of saying, well, we're going to be a little bit better than your numbers if they wanted. And that's still under-promising, because at the end of the year, they have so much more room to grow. And so right now, analysts are looking at 1.3 million vehicles getting delivered. Tesla is going to say, all right, well, we want 50% growth. So we see ourselves at 1.4 million vehicles delivered. Wall Street will applaud this because they're like, oh, you're beating our estimates. But then some will frown upon it because they're like, oh, but you're not beating our estimates by enough. Which is why it's totally ludicrous to go by what these Wall Street analysts say, because none of them have any idea what's actually going on. They just throw a dart at the dartboard and make their best guess in most cases. And even if they say they're going to come in at 1.4 million, they're still going to smash that number by the end of the year, most likely. And now, as far as the stock price action goes, I can definitely expect us to see a large gap up tomorrow in the stock price. How high it's going to be, I think part of it's going to play into the macro environment and any fears and stuff that are still lingering out there. But if there's not much in the way, I can definitely see us gapping up to potentially over 1,100 to start the day tomorrow. And then from there, we'll see the stock going up. Now, when it comes to the gap that I had talked about needing to get filled, with these numbers, it may not get filled. Again, nobody knows the future. Nobody can see what's going to happen. But, I can see this stock definitely having a lot of euphoria behind it for the next couple of days. Will it dwindle down a little bit? Will it sell off? It could potentially. We may also have, similar to what we had in October, if this news comes out and then we have some more positive news to back it up, similar to how we had the Hertz news back in October, we could see another euphoric run and may not see that gap get filled at all. Now, my personal opinion is, if for whatever reason we do see that gap get filled down to 939, buy the crap out of it, because I guarantee that is going to be probably the last time we see it, unless for some freak reason we do go into some recession or a bear market over the next year. Otherwise, I think 939 will happen one more time and that'll be it. So if that happens, buy it, buy it, buy it, and then it's going to skyrocket from there. Now, just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. My stock wizardry skills are quite rusty and I do not have them in full effect. So I could be 100% wrong on all of that, but from what I see, that is potentially what can happen. Let me know in the comments below how excited you were to see these numbers coming out today. Let me know also what your predictions are for the end of 2022. Did these numbers that came out today make you adjust any of your prediction numbers at all? Or are you happy with yours, with where they're at? Let me know. I just know that this was an awesome day to see these numbers coming out. Totally phenomenal. I'm wicked excited to see what's going to be coming out tomorrow for the stock price. I will update you guys in the morning. I'm going to update my valuation model today and give you a little more information in the morning, but I wanted to get these insights out to you guys as soon as I could. So thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. If you're not following me already, follow me on Twitter at OracleTim1. That's where I post everything immediately. So this morning when those numbers came out, I was right on it to share them with you guys there. Otherwise, thank you so much. I will see you later. Have a great one.